2 games into Summer League, and it sure feels like Tristan Da Silva is as advertised. What it means to be someone who's in the right place at the right time every single time. Plus, how Anthony Black is learning to slow things down, and other observations from a second Summer League win. It's time for Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is July 15th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, we heard it said so many times that Tristan Da Silva is just wherever you need him to play. We heard it from our friends at Locked On Buffs. How we're seeing that actually play out during Summer League, why Tristan Da Silva is as advertised. We'll break down his big performance coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember, there's a great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for, the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the summer begins to pick up. We've hit the official kind of dead spot of the calendar. The soccer tournaments are ending. MLB All-Star Game is here. Everything's kind of taken a hiatus. But guess what? FanDuel is still hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We had the host of Locked On Buffs, the Colorado Buffaloes podcast, on here a couple weeks ago. And we were still trying to get a feel for who Tristan Da Silva was. We were still trying to get an understanding, okay, this is who this player that the Magic picked was. When we looked at the draft process, we saw a 6'8", kind of do everything forward, a veteran, a senior, who kind of knew where he was. And just every scouting report that I read and everything that I analyzed said this is a guy that just plugs and plays. But something more than that, everyone said this is a guy that is just always in the right spot at the right time. Just makes winning plays. Plays that don't show up in a stat sheet necessarily, but do show up when it counts, when things matter. Tristan Da Silva felt very much like a Magic player through and through. Like a player that just screams, I am the kind of guy the Orlando Magic like. It was something hard to say, get a handle on, and you'd watch it say, okay, I could see where all these pieces of the puzzle fit, but there are all these intangibles that you just didn't know because we don't watch him play every game or watch how he moved on the court. You know, maybe we're just looking at highlights. Maybe we weren't watching a full game. But everybody who did watch those full games told us, no, this guy just makes everything work. Even if he's not scoring, he's in the right spot. Even if you're not running plays for him, the ball will find him. That's been the continued message about Tristan Da Silva. That's been the continued notion of who this player is and why it felt like he would be successful, especially on a team like the Magic. Because Tristan Da Silva, everything just works around him. He makes the whole machine go by just being available, by flashing or moving to the open spot, by hitting that open three, but being there as an outlet, by attacking the glass at the right moment, by understanding when to pull back out off a drive or when to attack off the dribble. Look, it's Summer League. I get it. I'm the first one to tell you that in Summer League, you find out who can't play more than who can play. We'll get to Anthony Black here in a minute, but I'm not overly concerned about Anthony Black stuff. But I'd rather see someone do something than not. Because at this point, you just want to know, can you hold your own on the court? You're working on things, you'll make some mistakes, whatever. It's a really rough team. Every summer league team is rough. You got a week to figure out how to play together at a high enough level to learn something. But Tristan Da Silva has looked like a natural. And Sunday's win over the New Orleans Pelicans, where the Magic came back from a 15-point second half deficit, Sunday's win continued to just prove that Da Silva makes sense. Because everything that he did felt completely replicable when he gets to the regular season. And everything that he did was not about necessarily his skill or his ability to get a shot off against tough defense, although there was that. I will make sure we talk about that. But the majority of his shots, the majority of his looks came from moving into the passing pocket, moving into an open space. The most important play that he made all game was Jared Culver taking a three and Da Silva finding the sliver of space to cut to the basket, be in position for the offensive rebound, and score a putback. It's knowing when to fill a lane and transition. And having, yes, the skill, because I don't want to discredit his skill. He's a skilled player. To make a step through in transition, to take a hit and make a layup in a critical juncture of the game. In all, Tristan Da Silva led the Magic with 23 points on 8 for 13 shooting, made 3 of 6 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. For the second straight game after scoring 13 in Friday's win, Da Silva filled the box score. And he did it seemingly in a way that wasn't about him, if that makes sense. It was about him being present and available for others to find him. What does it mean to be in the right place at the right time? What does it mean to have the basketball IQ and the second sense that everybody seems to be talking about? Because Lionel Chalmers, the Magic Summer League head coach, also talked about it. Greg Anthony on the NBA TV broadcast for both games, someone who watches a lot of Magic basketball because of his son Cole, is commenting on it too, saying he's just where he needs to be at all times. It's like that play Friday. If you remember Friday's game, Da Silva got a rebound, kicked it to Anthony Black in the corner. Da Silva vacated the corner, went to the top of the key. His man stayed, and Black fired a pass to Da Silva for 3. He made the 3 at the top of the key. It's little plays like that stand out about Da Silva. Because yes, he had a really nice turnaround jumper. Yes, he had that Harmon, that bump and basket late in the game that was a huge basket for the Magic in this win. Yes, he has those plays in him. But nothing Da Silva's done in these 2 Summer League games feels forced. I would agree, and I would definitely argue, he looked more confident and comfortable in Sunday's game compared to Friday's game. Friday's game, it definitely felt like he was a feeling out. And Sunday, I think he was a little bit more assertive and looking to generate a little bit more points for himself and a little more opportunity for himself. But still, none of it felt outside of the flow. And at the end of the day, this is the thing. The ball found him because he put himself in the right positions. He kept himself open, put himself in the passing line of sight, and then executed and gained the trust of, like, if I pass this guy the ball, he's going to make the shot. This is what the Magic drafted in Tristan Da Silva. This is what everyone told us he would be. And yes, it is a big step to go from Summer League to the NBA. We are going to find out a lot about Tristan Da Silva in a couple months. And in 3 months, we will know more about this kid than we know now. But at least as a proof of concept, here in Summer League, Tristan Da Silva is showing us who he is. Tristan Da Silva is showing us what he is capable of doing and how he can contribute to this Magic team. Tristan Da Silva is showing us all the kind of draft pick the Magic made. The high IQ that goes beyond just what you see on a box score. And in Summer League, that has meant a pretty heavy box score contribution. It is safe to say that at least through 2 Summer League games, the Magic are really happy with what they selected. I think Magic fans are too. We're all really excited about what he can be. And now we'll see how it plays out in October, because through 2 Summer League games, Tristan Da Silva has been exactly as advertised. Smart, humble, willing to do what's necessary for the team, what's right for the team, available to contribute when the ball swings to him. All the things that the Magic love in their role players. Sunday was not a great night for everyone, and we'll break down more about Sunday's game, but we're going to focus on Anthony Black, how Anthony Black is learning to slow things down, and how New Orleans sped him up. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Look, I love sports as much as anybody. I got my Gator shirt on, live life in the dome. We all love basketball, and Summer League just gives us that little hit of basketball that we need. Don't forget, Team USA is playing Monday at noon. Get some good afternoon basketball. But afternoon basketball is always good. But summer, and especially this week, is when the sports start to slow down a little bit too much. A lot of the leagues are maybe taking an Olympic break. The WNBA is getting ready to slow down. We're going to be thirsting for sports until the Olympics begin. But FanDuel lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Just because there aren't games going on does not mean futures aren't on the board. And yes, you can bet on summer league games. I don't know why you would want to, but you can. Just take a look at this. NBA Cup. We talked a little about the NBA Cup last week or on Friday. The Orlando Magic plus 3,000 to win the NBA Cup. Not too bad. In Group A, the Magic are actually third at plus 270. The Knicks and Sixers, the co-favorites at plus 150. The Magic at plus 270 could be a good bargain if you're looking to bet on the NBA Cup in November. So head on over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. Get ready for the NBA season, even if there's not many sports going on here. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. For your next listen, be sure to check out the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel for all the latest in the sports world. The Locked On Sports Today channel is a free 24/7 streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming and nonsense you get from the national shows. Instead, you get the local analysts talking about the teams they follow religiously. I'm the Magic guy. There's a Lakers guy. There's a Sixers guy. There's a Knicks guy. There's a Pelicans guy. All great people, I'm sure. I met a lot of them. They're all great people, and they give their audience the best analysis of their teams. And the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel brings you the best of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find it streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Obviously, we have a lot of focus when we get to Summer League here on the key roster players. We care about what Tristan Da Silva is doing, what Jet Howard's doing, and what Anthony Black is doing. How those players play, and we'll talk Jay Huff here probably tomorrow. We'll talk some Xavier Moon here in a bit. There are a lot of interesting players on this Summer League team. The Magic, unlike last year when they went into Summer League without a center and it was clear they didn't have a center, this year's Summer League roster is really well put together. Again, I want to give a major shout out to Lionel Chalmers. He has his team playing hard. He has his team playing together. They're really bought into who the Magic are as an identity. There is not much difference between what the stuff the Magic would run and the stuff the Summer League team's running, and including how the bench is reacting to things and how engaged everybody is. Like Sunday was a rougher game. We'll talk about it here in a minute. But I got to give a shout out to Lionel Chalmers. He has done an incredible job with the Summer League team. And again, it's vibes as much as execution on the court. And the vibes are good right now. We're winning. But obviously we're focused on the progression of the rookies, of the young players and the roster players. And I said on Friday's show that Anthony Black has a lot of eyes and attention on him. That this is a major opportunity for Black to make his name, to kind of say, okay, I'm staking my claim to I'm a comfortable rotation player. And he had a great game Friday. Sunday, not a good game. I will flat out say it. I think I tweeted it out. Flat out, not a good game for Anthony Black in a lot of ways. Finished the game with just 5 points, 2 for 7 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3. I'm not so concerned about that. 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, and 6 fouls. And a lot of those fouls were kind of lazy fouls. Just not a particularly engaged game. Not a particularly engaged game for Black. I felt like he was overplaying on defense, and usually defense is the thing you can count on. And he still made some good defensive plays. And at the end of the day, when the game was on the line in the fourth quarter, Black made his first field goal to tie the game, but bring the Magic all the way back into the game. And then he had another tough basket as well late that helped the Magic maintain their lead. He made a really nice deflection on a transition pass, transition push-ahead pass that set up a basket for Orlando in a critical moment. In the fourth quarter, Anthony Black showed up. And look, the assists were there. He was kind of throwing the ball around a little bit too much. I thought the pace of the game was a little too hectic. And he got sucked into that. And to me, this is where I'm focused on Anthony Black. And I know I mentioned this after Friday's game because it really impressed me how he slowed the game down, how he looked like he was playing at his speed and was able to manipulate the defense because of it. I'll go ahead and say this. I think all three of these players should play one more game. I think they should all play Wednesday. Thursday, I'm fine with them sitting. I don't think back-to-backs are necessary in Summer League, but I absolutely think Anthony Black should play Wednesday because I need to see how he responds to this game. Because unlike Friday, when he seemed to play at his own pace and play under control and dictate when things sped up or not, the Pelicans did a really good job speeding him up throughout. And so the thing I want to get out of the Summer League for Anthony Black is the shot looks better. I know the defense is going to be there. Anthony Black said he wants to be more aggressive and assertive. I like that. Do that. To me, what I want to see from Anthony Black in Wednesday's game is I want to see him control and regulate his pace and dictate the tempo of the game. And I know I'm interchanging a lot of words that kind of mean the same thing, but I'm using them to mean something different. I want Anthony Black to control the game. I think he is good enough to do so. He showed us he was good enough to do so Friday. And on Sunday, New Orleans did a really good job blitzing and pressing him. It was something the Pelicans did very well. They played a very high press. They played a very energetic game. They put a lot of pressure on the Magic's guards, and it took them a little while to adjust. And they made a lot of mistakes because they were just going super fast. Again, Black had 3 turnovers. He had 3 turnovers in the last game as well. But the tempo and the speed of the game was just too quick. Not that I think Orlando should play at a snail's pace or necessarily slow, but the Magic, I felt like, were out of control. They weren't the ones dictating how fast or slow the game went. And that starts with Anthony Black controlling that pace. And New Orleans, to the credit, did a good job getting the ball out of his hands, not letting him be the one to bring the ball up, not keeping him uninvolved in that sense. That's how New Orleans wanted to play. So now I need to see Anthony Black respond because where he needs to learn, and the biggest skill he's going to have as the Magic's point guard next year, as a backup point guard or whatever role the Magic ultimately have him play. The biggest thing he's going to have to learn is how to play at his speed, how to play at a speed that he is comfortable with, to not let others speed him up. And I felt like that's what went wrong Sunday for him. And again, I did not think it was a good game through 3 quarters. The fourth quarter, AB showed up, made some big, humongous plays, and was a big reason why the Magic ended up winning the game. So I got to give props where props are due. He showed up at the end of the game and delivered in the clutch moments. But again, a second-year player in Summer League, we're expecting a little bit more. Now, look, it's not the end of the world. Jordan Hawkins, I thought, had a really solid game. He was 6 for 18. Like, he didn't shoot the ball well. It's Summer League. The stats aren't really what I care about. Like, I'm not thrilled AB didn't shoot great. But again, it's about this little thing, this thing that's going to translate to the regular season. Because we know he's going to play in the regular season. We know he's going to play on this team. And so AB's got to learn this point guard skill of controlling his pace, his tempo, the speed at which he and his team play at. And that's going to be the big thing he's going to have to learn. That's going to be the big thing that the Magic need to see from him still in Summer League. Friday night against the Cavs, he was excellent at it. He controlled the tempo. Cleveland was completely knocked off course because Anthony Black decided how fast the game was going to be played and was comfortable at any speed and made that defense look silly, frankly, with how under control he was. Sunday, he did not look under control. Sunday, it looked like New Orleans was able to speed him up, speed up his decision-making, force him into kind of falling back into patterns rather than reading what the defense is playing and playing in that flow. And so now, and look, AB's 19, 20. Like, let him make this. This is the place to make that mistake, to learn this lesson, to kind of understand, okay, this is what I have to do better. It's okay to make that mistake. But now I want to see him recover from it and play better on Wednesday. The Magic, I believe, are in first place in Summer League. We're going to check those standings in a bit. But what else happened in the Orlando Magic's game? How they pulled off a comeback to remember. Maybe not at Summer League. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With more than 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you will always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it is easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. The Orlando Magic moved to 2-0 in the Summer League. We'll update those Summer League standings if you care, you sickos. With a 91-86 win over the New Orleans Pelicans. A frankly very Summer League game through 3 quarters for the Magic, and then a really sublime, strong performance, a really, really good closing kick. When the Magic needed to buckle down and focus in on this game, they looked like the far better team, the far more talented team. And again, it's Summer League. There were a lot of mistakes from both sides, a lot of turnovers, a lot of fouling. That was the biggest thing for the Magic in the first half. I felt like in the first half, after they took their brief 11-point lead, or 8-point lead, whatever it was, I felt like the Magic got stagnant on offense. Again, pressure, a lot of pressure defense, a lot of quick threes, a lot of guys kind of gunning for threes, including Jet Howard. And then just not a lot of ball movement. And again, that's, that's the bread and butter of the Magic's offense. Get downhill, spray out, get the ball moving around the horn. That's kind of the Magic's MO in general. But a lot of turnovers. Orlando finished the game with 19 turnovers. That's 19 turnovers, 22 fouls. A lot of fouling defensively, which is not the way the Magic want to play either. And a lot of mistakes just in transition. Again, it's just a weird breakneck paced game. We talked about Tristan Da Silva. We talked about Anthony Black. Jet Howard with 14 points, 6 for 11 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 assists, 3 turnovers for him. Look, Jet, I would criticize Jet Howard's shot selection. I thought he took a couple quick shots. That's what he's in there to do. I'm not going to be freaking out about that. Jet Howard followed up his game on Friday with another really solid game, though. He is smart on the ball, a much better playmaker and dribbler. Like, you could see why, this is why the Magic believed in him or thought about him, is he does have this playmaking potential and, he can give you a little bit more than just being a spot-up shooter. Like I said, I think that he was a little quick on the trigger a lot of times in this game, or very quick to take shots in this game. Just generally, like you could see it. This is the big thing. I think a lot of people didn't really know what the Magic had in Jet Howard because he spent that year in the G League. Now it's like, okay, I see the vision. I see what he can do. Let's get him in training camp. Let's see how he, shakes out with this roster. But you can, again, this is what's important about Summer League. Can you see an NBA player there? You get Anthony Black, as much as I think he struggled in this game, you can see an NBA player there. And we know he's an NBA player. Tristan Da Silva, you can absolutely see an NBA player there. You can absolutely see, this guy's an NBA player. And then, Jet Howard, absolutely, we can see this guy's an NBA player. This guy's a lot better than he was last Summer League, number one. So clearly made some improvements. He's made the most of this opportunity. And again, not the strongest effort, not the best game. Certainly, if the bar was set on Friday, he did not meet it, but continues to do things that we expect him to do and is not taking things away defensively. I think he's holding his own defensively. I wouldn't call him a positive on defense, but he is holding his own defensively and generally trying to do the right things. This game, though, was won by some bit players, or won by players who you may not have known before this week, who continue to impress. Got to give a shout out to Xavier Moon. The Magic cut down a 15-point lead in the third quarter down to 7 at the end of the quarter. Xavier Moon, a big reason why. 10 points, 4 for 5 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3. 3 rebounds, did have 3 turnovers as well. Moon was an all-summer league player last year, great player in the G League, really showing it. He's a little bit undersized for what the Magic typically like, but this guy is smart, knows when to take his shots, kind of versatile in that way, can play on the ball, can play off the ball. Magic have used him a little bit with that starting group on occasion, playing alongside Anthony Black. He's really delivered. He was one of my guys to watch coming into Summer League. He was huge. Made a bunch of big shots in the late third, early fourth quarter to get the Magic back in the game. Got to give shout out then to Jared Rhoden off the bench as well. 7 points, 3 for 3 shooting, 2 rebounds, made a 3. Rhoden is and played really good defense, I have to say. He was really solid defensively. Really great game from him. Only did this in 8 minutes. He's kind of on the edges of the NBA. Definitely a really strong effort from him. And again, just you love his size, you love his defensive tenacity. Great game from him. Let's talk about the man of the hour, the man of the day, Jay Huff. 13 points, 5 for 11 shooting, 6 rebounds. Had the play of the game when he got I think it was a steal. I don't remember if it was a steal or a block. Got the ball at the free throw line, drove the length of the court, and had this big monster jam. Had several big monster jams. He's got some interesting touch around the basket. A really big effort. Screens really well. That's the stuff that doesn't show up on a box score. So much of what the Magic are doing offensively with that starting group works because Jay Huff is really doing a good job setting them free, setting them up to get space. Really like the effort that he brings. I will say this for those that are sign him now, put him on the regular roster. he still struggles defensively. Really struggled to deal with Yves Missy, and Yves Missy is playing a lot better than I anticipated he would play. Just flying around, blocking shots, great end-to-end guy. Jay Huff could not keep up with Yves Missy in this game. So let's, temper things. Like, it's not, Jay Huff is playing well. He's a two-way for Denver last year. I don't see a reason why the Magic wouldn't try and bring him back on a two-way this year either. But he looks really solid. Just there's still some things to be concerned about. Made a 3 too. Like, I like that about him as well. 8 fouls though. This was a rough game for fouls. Black had 6 fouls. Huff had 8. Just a rough game for fouling for the Magic. Just kind of caught a little bit late. I also want to give a special shout out to Jarrett Culver. 9 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals and a block. Only 2 for 6 shooting, 4 for 6 from the foul line. Jarrett Culver's come a long way. His defense and his defensive acumen is really clear. I think he's played really well and has really completed that Magic starting lineup for them in this summer league run. I really like the way that Culver's played. The scoring may not be there completely, but it's certainly better than it's been in the past for him. The defense we know is there, just has great size. He's playing really hard. I really like what I've seen from Jarrett Culver. He is not two-way eligible, as a reminder, but again, someone to keep an eye on here. He's obviously getting opportunity with this team. The Orlando Magic defeat the New Orleans Pelicans. They trailed by 15 in the third quarter, rallied to take the lead late in the fourth quarter, and pulled away for the win. That puts them in very good position in the standings. The Orlando Magic are 2-0. There are 7 teams in the Summer League standings that are 2-0. Your first tiebreaker is head-to-head. Obviously, it's a 7-way tie, so that doesn't do us very good. Your second tiebreaker is point differential. The Magic are currently second in the standings in point differential with a plus 32, plus or minus 16 points per game. That puts them in second place. The top 4 teams after the five Summer League games will go to the playoffs, will go to the semifinals, play 2 extra games instead of just 1 extra game. So the Magic have a back-to-back left Wednesday, Thursday for their back-to-back, but the Magic are sitting very, very pretty, clear by 2.5 points per game over the Golden State Warriors in the Summer League standings. They've had a very, very good Summer League run. This team's played very, very well. Again, they locked down in that fourth quarter, played an excellent fourth quarter to make sure they got the win here against the Pelicans. A really nice win. Learning a lot about these players, learning a lot about what we're going to see from them, but a good effort. A good effort. I never thought the effort was bad for the Magic. They got sped up a little bit. They weren't always in control, but I felt like the intensity was there. And obviously that turned around. They started making some shots, which helps a lot. Xavier Moon hit a bunch of threes. Making shots helps. Once the Magic started hitting shots, they were able to easily defeat the Pelicans. Again, this game wasn't easy, but they pulled away and got the win. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the Follow Me podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can also check us out on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic on YouTube. Appreciate all the subscribers there. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can always find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub. All my game recaps, all my game analysis stories are being posted immediately to my Patreon page and then posted in the morning on Orlando Magic Daily. So if you want my immediate reaction to anything, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. And of course, thank you for your support. Now that you're done listening to me, be sure to check out the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube and now available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Tomorrow, we will chat a little bit more about Jay Huff, perhaps. We'll chat. We'll see what else pops up. Maybe some USA basketball as well. But until then, For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Phil Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.